Hello, everyone. I'm Jeanette Kurtev with the Power of the Patient Project, and I'm here today with Barbara Cohen. Barbara Cohen is the coordinator of the Elkins Park / Moss Rehab MS Connections Group in the Philadelphia area. She's also a patient with multiple sclerosis. She is with us today to talk about MS and how patients are supported through the country by a network of dedicated patient groups. Welcome to the show, Barbara.
I want to say hi to everybody and let you know I'm Barbara Cohen, and I had MS for about 40 years. It's been a long time since I've been living with it, so I have a lot of experience. I know a lot of doctors. I run support groups, and I even go to many support groups as well. And I just try to help everyone the way I can. Doctors or new diagnosed patients or their family have my number. They can always call me and I'll talk to them for any length of time to help answer any questions or to meet with them or whatever we can do. And I usually invite all the patients, if they can, to come to our support groups. So the MS Society does run a lot of support groups and mostly meet once a month. And because my group has been established for quite a long time, they all love each other. They're very close, and we have a large group, and we always come together twice a month instead of once a month because they would do it every week if I had the time. So they like getting together, and we get together at Moss Rehab. And fortunately, except because of coronavirus, we're meeting on Zoom now twice a month. And usually the way my meetings go, I just wanted to let you know, is that since we meet twice a month, one time during the month I have a speaker. And Dr. Kaiserman had come in and spoken to my group before, and that's how I know about this project. And then once a month, we just meet amongst ourselves and talk about how we're feeling and if we know anything new that's happened or if we're on a new medication or we've seen a new doctor or something like that. And we like to share because a lot of times people are first coming in for the first time, and I like them to get a feel of the group and how close we are and how they can join us and we can give them some advice and things like that since we've all had it for quite a while. So that's basically, but now I'm older and it's been a long time, but I just really value the fact that I can help people in my group and their families to navigate having MS. So that's what I do.
That's very interesting. And since the next question kind of explains and helps since you've had more experience with it, but could you please explain to our audience about multiple sclerosis or MS and the challenges that patients tend to face when having it?
Okay, well, MS, the definition, it's a disease of the central nervous system. And the best way I can explain it to people, in fact, I've even done this for children, is that if your mom has an iron, and the way the iron works is you plug it in the wall, and then you turn the iron on, and within a few minutes or whatever, the iron's hot enough, and you can begin to iron, and everything's going through to it. It gets hot, and you iron, and everything's fine. With MS, what happens is the MS, in other words, what happens is with the MS, the iron has that protective covering along the electric wires that go to the iron. And with MS, we have covering called myelin that covers your nerves on the outside. And with MS, your body's attacking the myelin. So what's happening is eating away that insulation for you. So a lot of the electricity or whatever the message is going to the brain is coming out and it's being dispersed into the body rather than going directly to the brain. In other words, if you think you want to lift your right arm and the signal goes to the brain and it comes back and you're not going to be able to lift your arm, you maybe can only lift it halfway because the signal is getting totally through. And that's what it is. So it's easy for, I guess, children or for people that are not familiar with it to understand. So our messages are not getting through. And that's why some of us have disability physical. Some of us have disability with the brain It's a brain and spinal cord type thing. Some people have more lesions, that's what they call them, when they're eaten away in the brain, which can do cognitive things. Others have physical disability, which could be part of the brain and the spinal cord, which will maybe stop you from doing some balancing properly or walking properly or lifting things or your hands working or you dropping things. And we deal with a lot of fatigue, which is being very tired, but it's not the same fatigue as someone that goes to the gym and works out and gets tired from doing repetitions of lifting weights or, running or something like that. Our fatigue constantly is going on, and it's not something that you can sleep off and feel better. Fatigue is your whole body kind of feeling lethargic. And sometimes people don't even want to get out of bed, they're so tired. I mean, that's basically how your body feels. So there's a lot of different things that I've learned over the years, and that's like to conserve your energy and to listen to your body, and whether you're working or you're not, when you need to rest, you must listen to your body and rest. And that goes without saying. I mean, even if you just meditate for 10 minutes or just do some breathing exercises or something to relax your body, that might help you to continue on with what you're doing. And I guess an important thing to tell you is they call MS the snowflake disease because everyone's MS is different. You're never going to find two people that have the same exact MS. It can affect you in so many different ways. And I know that from being in the support group, we all have different strengths and different disabilities, and that's the way that it works. But I'm very much a positive person. So I tell people, let me tell you this, I drive with hand gears now because it was a kind of freak accident, but I thought my leg slipped off the pedal and it made me nervous. So I went to school to learn how to drive with my arm, like hand gears. And then I found out that that particular car that I had jumped out of gear. They had a recall for that. And I didn't realize it wasn't me, it was the car itself. But I had already learned how to drive with hand gears, so I still have them in my car. And that's something like there's always something you can do to adapt to what you were then and what you are now. And I always tell people you're more educated than the average person who doesn't have MS because they do things a certain way and that's the way they're used to them. I said, but we did things that way and now we've accommodated different things that we need to do. So we're kind of smarter because we can do it in 2 or 3 different ways that other people might not know how to do. So I just said there's always something you can do positively to keep yourself going as much as you have done before. So that's good. And I never let them to think that their MS is going to, be a horrible, I mean, it is chronic and we don't know until they find the cure what exactly, how we're going to end up with it. However, there's a lot of advancement. And from when I had it, it took about a good 20, 22 years before they came out with the first drug to help you. So I lived with different things that they had told me to do, not to exercise and not to overheat and just kind of take it easy and don't do anything. And then years later, they came up with the first medication. And they came up with saying that it's important for you to work out and it's important for you to keep your body motivated and keep moving. And I always tell people that the more you move around and the more you do, the minute MS comes out of the cure, you'll be able to run with it because you've kept your body. It's not atrophied, it's working. So physical therapy is good, meditating is good. There's a lot of things online that you can find, yoga. There's a lot of things that they put out for the MS community. Swimming is really good. So if people can get to a pool, I mean, whether, a lot of people don't like the heat, they can't stand it. And I'm not them. I'm okay with the heat. I'm in Florida, in fact, right now. I come here for the winter. So it's good for me to be in the water. And I find that being in the water at Florida is fine for me to be there for 6 months. And when I'm home, I have a pool and I'm in my pool for the 6 months that I'm home. So that really works for me. So I hope I'm helping answer your questions, but whatever you have, I will continue to go on.
No,
And
it
let you-
definitely is. I think that a lot of our patients are going to enjoy hearing about this so they know that they're not alone.
Right.
There's a second question. As for an advocate and coordinator of MS
Mm.
patient support groups, what are your goals for your members? Tell us what you want to try to provide for men and women who attend your meetings.
Right, okay, for the men and women, I try to include any resources that I have. If there's new medications out, or there's new studies coming out, or there's a new medication that just passed, and I want people to know about it, I print up all the information. I either send it to them, their emails, because we have, we have big groups. So I have emails, I have their phone numbers, I can text them, whatever they want, and I make sure they get a copy. And when we're meeting in person, I make copies of everything and bring it to the meetings because I think it's important for them to hear the newest things that are coming out. So, and they do have things coming out all the time. A lot of new medications have come out. It used to be only in the beginning, back in the 90s, we were doing medication, which were injections. Now they come out with pills and they've come out with infusions, and there's all different ways to get the drug, whichever one they think is good for you. And they're also coming out with markers that will tell you with the type of onset you had with your MS and where you are with it now, what drug they think will be the best one for you to take. So research has come a lot further. And also I have connections with everything. There's a lot of different things that people may face. It may not affect them at all, but there could be urinary problem, could be any kind of, cognitive problem. And there are studies on everything and doctors who handle everything. There's number of ways you can correct something that's wrong. So I think that's really important. And I just let them know. And the MS Society is a good resource to find out where to get a number for a support group leader like myself. And I have Ken Robinson, who is also, he helps me when I'm in Florida. He takes over, and I call him like my partner. It's Barbie and Ken, because he helps me with the meetings, and he sends every Monday. Our meetings are Thursdays, the second and fourth Thursday of every month at Elkins Park. And on Mondays, he sends a reminder to everyone and lets them know what's happening. If I have a speaker who's coming, and we have our meetings. They're usually at an hour and a half, I guess, from about our meetings usually in the hospital from 10:30 to noon. And then I have lunch tickets, so everybody has lunch together, and we can stay for another couple hours in the lunchroom, or they could bring the lunchroom stuff back into the room I am if I have it that afternoon too. So we can all still stay together, and we love that. And we do a lot of MS support. Like there's a MS City to Shore race that raises money, and unfortunately, because of what's happening with Corona, we didn't do it this year. And sometimes it's hardly ever rained out, but sometimes if it's a very bad storm or a rain and we have to cancel for any reason, then we still try to do it virtually. We do what we can, but most of my group will come down with me and hand out medals to all the riders that come in, and there's many of them, and we thank them for helping support us to help us find a cure for MS. So we do a lot of different things with the MS Society, and I always have a holiday meeting at the end of the year, which is in December. Before I leave for Florida, I usually have like a holiday party, and we go to lunch and we play games and everybody gets gifts. It's a lot of fun. And this year, unfortunately, because it's the first year with Corona, that we did it on Zoom, and I had to kind of curtail my fun to just people calling in on Zoom or people actually being seen on Zoom. It was different ways you can reach us at either way. And we played, and we still had a winner, and we still, I sent them a gift from Amazon for winning because I couldn't see them in person or give them a gift. So we just try to keep it very light and fun, and everybody loves it. That's our good meeting. But I really like the men and women to know different things about MS. I'm a very big advocate about learning and studying and finding out all that I can. In fact, I found out recently that one of the newer drugs that people are on, I know at least 4 or 5 people in my group that are on that drug. I found out while I was reading that they're going to cut down the time it takes to infuse that drug. And I sent it out to the people that it affects. And they were like, great, it would be great to have that shorter. We're so happy. And they go, can't wait for that to happen. And you know what I mean? So whatever I find out, I know who does what. I'm so in tune to my group that I know who to tell whatever they need. And I have doctors for any specific thing with MS you would need. I have doctors that can speak to those patients and help them. And the MS Society usually has money to help you in some way with anything that you need to be able to get through with your MS because it can be costly. So they can usually help you. I don't know with coronavirus how much that's really affected our fundraising, I think, for this year. But usually but we also have a group of people that are called the navigators, and they will also steer you in the right direction if you need any kind of a connection with anything as far as equipment goes, or if you need help talking to a psychologist or someone or family, or if you need insurance or life insurance, or there's something you want to know about, the navigators have that information too. So it's a good resource. So I just try to get and keep the numbers, people that need home care at home, that need help with, physical care as far as personal care, or maybe taking them to the doctors, or helping them shop, or doing some banking or whatever. There are companies out there that can refer people that can work for you that are bonded and everything like that. So, and I know all the companies, so I really am a good source of knowledge for people. So they know to call me and ask me questions. I'll get called anytime during the day or night. And they're surprised because I call them right back. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If they need me, I'm there. So that's good to let you know and let your group know.
It was definitely a lot more information, and I appreciate that. As for the third question, it kind of goes with everything, but it's more about you personally. Is there any way you could tell us about your personal journey and how it has made you a better advocate for patients with MS?
Right. Well, like I said, I had gotten MS back when I was in my mid-20s. And a lot of times in the beginning, they used to tell you, like I said, to rest and stuff, and maybe not get pregnant or anything because that could put stress on your body. But when I was first diagnosed, they said to me, we don't know enough. There's no medication. There's nothing at this time. We don't know enough to tell you where you will end up in the spectrum of MS. You could be a one time, it could be a one thing that happens to you. I lost my eyesight. I went from 20 to 2300 in my eye in about 30 seconds because I had a stressful situation and that caused that happening. And then when I went down to Wills Eye Hospital to a neuro-ophthalmologist, he explained to me that it is MS and this is the way that it goes and we're not sure. And he said, but I want you to live your life and not to worry. He was someone more or less the way I am, positive. And even though it's a shock and you're kind of lost because you don't know what it means, especially way before people even heard the words MS, he just made it very, do what you want. And so I did have 2 children, great pregnancies, no problems. Even after pregnancy, a lot of people sometimes can have an exacerbation. I did not. I did good. I think from the first time I was diagnosed, it took about 15 years to have another symptom. And it might have been a stress with my grandfather, I think, passed away, and my mother-in-law died suddenly. So I think stress has a lot to do with autoimmune diseases and actually making them worse or things not going exactly as you planned, a lot of stress. And that's why I always say that meditating or, resting or something like that is really good for your body because it takes away that anxiety that you don't want to have because it can be, can be bad for your body in a way. So that was about 15 years since my second exacerbation. And then it was another 5 years till the next. So they were kind of spaced apart. But by that time I started having help in in the home, and I had someone working for me that would take me to doctors or whatever, and they had a very large car. And I remember they were very strong, and they went to pick me up to put me in the car, and I heard a sound like, and what happened was, from picking me up, because your body is like not very balanced, I heard my hip crack. So my hip just totally cracked from them picking me up to put me in the car, and I needed a hip replacement in my 50s. And that was very hard, and it just took a lot out of me because it was very stressful on my body, but I did have to have that. And then I wasn't sure what the results would be, if I'd be walking or not walking. And thank God, I have a little leg discrepancy, but I am walking fine. I can dance, I can move. So, I mean, that's pretty good, right? That I can move. And I didn't think that that was going to happen, but going to therapy and keeping myself active and eating properly, there's a lot of things you can do, and that has helped me get through it. And recently, unfortunately, I lost my son a couple years ago. He was only 39, but he had a heart attack and died, and it was a very traumatic thing for me. But then again, too, I just try. I'm just no, you're not going to get over that, but you just try not to let it creep into your actual physical body, because that can put you down, and that would be the end of that. So whenever I face challenges and stuff, I just try to keep on going, and I try to get through it. And that's what I do without special medication and stuff. I really try to do it on my own. And that's all I can tell people. And that's what I've done. And that's why I'm here today. And I'm still running the support groups, and I'm still living, even though I've been through a lot of heartache, recently. And my younger son, who just turned 34, he just got married. So that's a positive thing, so you try to like balance it out with good things. So, and that keeps you going. So I hope that answered that for you and everyone.
No, it did, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So on to the next question.
Okay.
Patients with MS are always looking for new advancements. So what are some of the medical advancements that are currently being talked about that you've heard?
Okay. So right now, the new advancements are they're doing studies for cognitive. They want to find out where in the brain that the MS could be affecting you cognitively. Because some people really can't come up with the words, or their memory's not good anymore. And it just depends on where these lesions are in your brain or in your spinal cord. And one thing that's coming out too that would be good, that would be the first thing. There are new medicines that are coming out. They test, usually they give mice, I guess, a derivative of MS, not MS, but something similar. And they're finding that they can regrow the myelin that has been damaged and off your nerves. They're finding out that they can do that. And that is a wonderful thing, because if you still have the connections there, even though the myelin has been eaten away, if the underlying nerves underneath are still connected and functioning, then, and if they can regrow that myelin to protect your nerves, then you may be able to get those signals straight through again, the way with I told you with the iron, that they'd be able to go right through, and that would be wonderful. They have something that was, which I have, that was discovered in a physical therapist, I believe in Italy, has discovered something that is sort of electromagnetic, and it's a little disc, and you could put it on your body. It could be for pain as well, which thank God I don't have that, but it's for balance, and you could put it in a certain place in your neck, and then in your sternum, like right your, like between your breasts, you put it there, and it balances you, and they tell you how to run the test before you put it on, how you have to walk or stand and see if you can lift your arms and balance. And then they tell you to put it on and do the same tests again. And it really works. So that's called the Dow patch. And that was really good. That was new that I found out about that and told that to the group. And or anybody that calls me. And the other one is they're doing more and more studies with stem cells. And believe it or not, when I told you about the hip replacement, the day that I came out of the hospital, I was in there for 6 weeks with my rehab. The day I came out, a doctor had called me from, at the time, it was hospital in Center City, and he called me and told me that he is doing a study with another doctor from NIH about stem cells, and that it would be free to me because eventually it'd be real expensive. So he wanted to try to test me, but he explained that I have to be in the hospital for like another 8 weeks or something. And I was like, I don't want to go back in the hospital. I just got out. But sometimes I think I should have done it because that was the stem cell. And I know a couple people that did it, and they did really well with it. And over the years, a couple other people did it, and that helped them. Some it didn't, some it did. It had a 10% mortality rate. I don't know anybody that passed away from it, but I'm sure there were people throughout the world that did. And but they're coming back with a different way that they could do it that can help people. So that is a very promising thing. And like I said, new medications are coming out all the time. So, and the minute I hear about them or I find out what they are, I let people know immediately. So that's the one thing I keep my head to the grindstone. I want to know everything. And there's something new that came out last year, and I think 2 years ago I had first heard about it. And it was something, it almost looks like a package of a stick of gum that you would get, an old package of chewing gum or whatever. And what that was something, they say that your tongue has more receptors in it that go to the brain everywhere, and that with this thing, it can bring back more neural connections, and it has helped people come around from a stroke, come around from MS, come around from anything that they could have, their body could have got attacked with, and helps them come out of that. And that's going to be hitting the market soon too. That's up for that. So these things, studies are long. I was on a couple studies myself, and it takes a while. There's 3 stages to studies they do. The first one is to try it, and it's a large population. The second one is a little bit more closed, and they use certain people. And the third one really is efficacy and what dose is the best one to give you. So you have to go through 3 phases before you go to the to try to pass the drug. So there's a lot of time and effort that it takes to go through all those. So when I hear about the drug, I'll let you know in the beginning, and you know it's not coming out tomorrow unless it's in a stage 3, and you know there's a good chance you're going to hear about it soon. But whatever and we're always researching, so I think that's really good. So I try to stay on top of everything, and I will answer anything that anybody has. Someone called me yesterday about help to get them some support in their home. And I talked to them for half an hour. I gave them a lot of lists of names of companies that can help them. I told them how they have to go about it and what to do, and just call this. And I give them the number, and they would call. And I said, please let me know how you make out, because I know if it's good or which company they chose. And if it did work out good, I'll let other people know too. So that's what I do. And I just want everybody to know that MS is not a death sentence. It's not, what it is. It's something that's going to come in that you're going to have to adopt your body and your thoughts to try to get. But, sometimes it's not easy. And I recently read something about when people are diagnosed with MS, they're not always given, not the doctors or the nurse practitioners don't always know how to address it with you, or they might give you 4 different drugs and tell you go read about them and decide what you want. But I think you need a little more understanding about the drugs, and you need a little more coddling, and you need a little more education. So that's why I come in, because if I can help you feel comfortable about it, or to find out what I know. And most of the drugs that are out there I've been on since I was there before drugs. And afterwards, I did a lot of studies to get these drugs on the board. So I really know a lot. So I just like to be able to be an advocate for anybody that has any questions. So that's basically, I'm always helping people in any way I can.
That's all you can really do now, especially with everything going on. Help, I think, is the one thing people constantly need.
Right.
As for the final question, what message do you want to share with patients, with caregivers, and with the public about MS?
Okay, well, I just think it's important that everybody understand it. And I don't want the caregivers or the family to get discouraged if they see their loved one who has MS. It's not just the person's disease, it's a family disease. It's a caregiver and, and the person's disease, because a lot of times they're frustrated. If you're a very busy person, you've always been very busy, and now you can't do things that you used to do, it's frustrating. And it's almost like hard, and sometimes it's hard for you to ask for help. Some people don't have a problem, but I always say, I know a lot of times you're adamant that you want to try to do it yourself, and I'll try to do it myself 4 or 5 times. And if I get frustrated, I'll call my caregiver or a family member or something, say, I'm really frustrated. I tried this and I can't do it. I really need help. But it's hard. But I want people with MS to remember that sometimes it's not about taking your independence away. Sometimes people around you makes them feel good to help you. You're almost doing a good service to give them the opportunity to do something for you, whether that means drive you somewhere or help you cook something or pick something up or setting the table. It's not that you can't do it. It's just that in their own heart and in their own mind, they want to help, and you're giving them the okay to help you do something. And it's kind of pleasing for them as much as help for you. So never feel like anybody's, really pitying you or looking down on you. They really want to help you from their own heart, and accept it graciously and thank them. And that's it. I just like to say that. And also family members, just don't take it personal. Don't take it personal if your loved one is crying because the MS or they're not sure. It's still open. You don't know where the disease is going. It could not manifest anymore, or it could absolutely get worse. You never know. So you want to really, really understand. And if they get frustrated or they lash out or they scream or they cry or whatever the case may be, not to take it personal. It's nothing against you. It's just against what they had, what they lost, where they are today. And until they maybe get with people that have MS and realize they're not alone, and until they get to see that they can do other things, or they could do the same thing they used to do in a different way, until they get comfortable with where they are, then it might be a little touch and go for you to see them go through this. So it's really, really important. And I think today, I like children being used to people or their parents or their grandparents or wheelchairs or walkers or scooters or whatever they have to do. And in my own family, I have all the equipment that I've ever needed. I have tons of it. I give it away. In fact, I have so much of it. But my grandkids love Grammy scooter. They love to see this and that. It's like a toy to them. And they'll sit on my lap and take a ride. But I just don't want children to see it for the first time and be scared. So I just like them to see all these things. And there's a lot of information for kids too. The MS Society has books. If your mommy has MS or your daddy has it, there's all kinds of educational books. And never think that you're alone, and just knowing that there's resources out there. There's so many, and so many different companies are actually opening up. There's the MSAA, there's the MS Foundation in Florida. There's a lot of places that can offer you a lot of advice, a lot of books, a lot of things. And it doesn't hurt to learn as much as you can, and then you could teach yourself. and teach your family and your caregivers and your children or something, just so you would be more knowledgeable and be able to understand it better. So, and I'm so glad you chose today to talk with me, because I think it's important that the whole world understands that we're all the same as you and as everybody else that doesn't have MS. We just do things a little differently. So,
Yeah, no. Again, thank you for coming on the show. I genuinely appreciated getting to interview you and getting to know more about MS, because I feel like a lot of our patients will genuinely appreciate this information if they don't know about it or they haven't really gotten enough information about it yet. So
right.
thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome. And I think I gave you, because we're connecting, I gave you my email address. If any of your patients want that and they want to reach out to me, I am always available.
Yeah, no.
Thank you today. Thank you so much. Happy, healthy New Year and have great holidays.
Have a great holidays.
Thanks. Bye-bye now. Take care. Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway.